I'm Jacob and I'm building a software business from scratch and this is how I'm marketing it. So there's really only four like primary ways to market things if you're solo. There's one, talking to people you know, which is like warm outreach. Two, talking to people you don't know, which is cold outreach. Three, posting content. And four, running paid ads. Since we don't have a budget, I'm going to be focused on the first three. And that's what I'm doing to get people to know about my stuff. The thing is, it's like I'm having a hard time struggling between like marketing and focusing on product because I know that if you have a killer product, the product should like recommend itself. The only issue is that if you have a killer product and no one knows about it, then you don't really have a killer product, right? So that's what I'm trying to focus on right now. I recently made a short that I posted on Instagram. I think I'm gonna try to be more consistent with it, and that's gonna be I think initially my primary way to get people to know about things because like YouTube would be like the optimal way, but most of the customers that I'm targeting are in like the more Instagram space. It's a lot easier, but having like this YouTube bank would be like really ideal because once things get rolling, then they can refer to this. But yeah, let's go over the video that I made for the most recent short for this Friday. So the funny thing is, I was shipping a few features like last minute, and I ended up staying up all night to make this video. So from my point of view, I feel like I look really sleepy, but I tried to like still keep it upbeat. But like my eyes are like really struggling to stay open, even though I was feeling good in the moment. Just like looking back on it, I felt really sleepy. Also, yeah, this was like filmed at like 8:30 a.m. after staying up the whole night. So, yeah, also I had this really big idea to like pop up these numbers on like the screen while I'm talking. And initially when I first posted it, I actually forgot to do that. And then, so I had to take it like it was up for like 10 minutes. I took it back down. I put in those numbers. But what I should have done, I rewatched it and on Instagram they have like your name and stuff up here. So it kind of covers it if you're like scrolling through the feed. I should have just put it like right in front of my face. But yeah, it's okay. We live and learn. Yeah. I thought this hook was going to be so good because it's like, I mean, I think it is good. It's just, I don't think I really delivered that well. Yeah. 3,226,593. That's how many powerlifting records there have been since 1973. I sorted through all of them and created the fastest way to look up a person's powerlifting record. Here it is. Out of the 3 million records, around 300,000 of them are from the USAPL, 50,000 from the IPF, 7,000 from Powerlifting America, around 200,000 from the USPA, and around 55,000 from the WRPF. Now, I'm planning to import the rest of the federations, but I wanted to show you what I have right now. So you can search through it by name. So let's try searching up a name here. I know on like tech Twitter, there's this really cool way to like record videos, record your screen. But the thing is, on Twitter, they do like the the normal way, like the 16:9 way. But since I'm on Instagram, it's 9:16, so it's like up and down. So like, I don't know. It's still really hard to like find a way to do that. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it could be smoother, but the thing about Instagram is that since it's a short, it's pretty forgiving. Like you don't really. I mean, it's nice to have high quality, and I like the fact that I do have a high quality thing. But I feel like there's a better way. But I follow like the basic principles of posting like your screen, where it's like, oh, you want to hide your taskbar, you want to use a nice clean browser, like I'm using Arc and things like that. But yeah, let's keep going. See that it matches the whatever's in the name right here. And you can scroll through their entire meet history here. And as you can see, all of their records are here. We can also filter it by federation, so let's just try someone else. So we can filter them by like their USAPL record, or we can filter them by their USPA record, or their WRPF record. And it has everything that you need from them. It has their lift attempts, total, dots, and it has a few hidden columns here that I didn't think that were useful, but there's still extra information that you can look up. Try it out yourself and let me know what you think. Another thing that's new is the so like thing is it's like it was like part scripted. I feel like I should talk faster and like move faster through it, but I don't know. I want to blame that I stayed up the whole night, but I'm just not good enough. But we're learning now, so it's okay. Calculator. And you might be thinking, oh, we already have one of those. I mean, we do, but we don't have one that will calculate the dots and the total from each individual lift. So let me show you. Bench 142.5, deadlift 227. So you can see here that it actually calculates the dots based on your total, and you can save it and compare yourself to like any other total that you want to calculate or dots that you want to calculate. We have finally finished developing all the features needed to run a meet, and we're looking to host our first meet. Our test run at PLA's Age Division Nats was a success, and we got a lot of good feedback from everybody who used it. So if you know anyone who'd be interested in this, please feel free to reach out to me here. We're going to be at the 2024 Kilo Showdown in Tomball, Texas this coming weekend. So if you're a lifter participating in the meet, make sure to sign up and register through the website so we can track your meet progress. So yeah, that thing at the end about being at the meet, that's not true at all. That meet was like, it was basically canceled, and yeah, we're not gonna be doing this meet. I'm actually probably gonna hide it right now. I got a lot of progress done since I last talked to y'all. Let me show you. I was working on before, like I went on. Well, I didn't post because I went on a really big like hiatus. It was bad. We're gonna go back to the regular posting schedule right now, but. In the previous videos, I was running a test on like the main meet board. So like in powerlifting meets, you have like the main board, which everybody looks at and which runs the meet. So like it should have the lifter that's currently up, whoever's next on the platform. It's basically separated by platform. So each platform will have its own like screen with its own information relating to the platform. So on the screen per platform will have this display. Right now, I'm keeping it like this. The judge controls should be per judge. So there's 3 judges for every platform, and they'll have like a phone on them to actually put in what their judge decision is. All of these are like synced together to make one cohesive meet work. A meet is kind of like a game where, or at least that's how I was thinking about creating this. It's a game where like there's a timer. You get a certain amount of time to do your lift. Now, the timer is really subjective. It's not like, oh, you didn't make it, your lift is automatically canceled out. It's really up to the judges to decide if you like started your lift in the right time. So the judges will mark if the lift was bad or not. So once the timer starts, the lifter has time to lift. And then the judges will put their attempt. So let's just say his like lift was good. We'll go all green. The light will turn on, the timer resets, and then the attempt goes to the next person. Now, that took a lot to implement. There's so many moving parts into calculating how this works. It's insane because, first of all, let me start with, there could be multiple flights on every different platform. As you can see here, like these people will start their whole bench attempt, and then it'll go to the next flight, and they'll do their next attempt, and they'll go to the next flight and do their next attempt, bench attempt, and so on and so forth. So it basically goes like this. You do the lift per flight, and then you go through all the flights to do all of that specified lift. So everybody has to go through squat, and then bench, and then deadlift. And the thing is, per attempt, you have to filter it by whoever has the biggest attempt goes last, and whoever has the smallest attempt goes first. But that's per lift. The way that that's structured is that it's assuming that the person with the biggest lift will lift the biggest at the end, but that's not always true. So this order needs to get recalculated in every attempt. So it's really hard to keep track of that, as well as keeping track of what flight is up. And you have to sync it among multiple clients. So everybody who's on this board has to see the same thing. They have to see the same time, they have to see the same current lifter, and they have to see the same light status. So syncing that all together was really, really hard to take. This whole board took me like a total of 40 working focused hours to make. So basically how it works, it's like it calculates the current attempt, it highlights it, and then it sends out to the judges what attempt that the judges are like judging. Then the timer, oh my God, syncing the time across multiple clients is basically impossible. Like at first I wanted to implement my own timer. That did not work. So then I'm using React Hook Timer. But syncing that across clients with the ability to reset, pause, resume, and start, as well as control the light status, because what happens is that when a lifter completes it, the lights show if like the lift is good or not. It reflects the judge's decisions. It's either white for good lift or red for bad lift. So the once a person is done lifting, they'll look at the lights to see if their lift is like good, and then if it's good, it'll stay on until a certain point. Now that certain point is not really declared, so how I did it is that the timer actually controls the lights. So after all the judges have submitted their attempts, the lights turn on and the timer resets, and then the next current lifter is calculated. But the lights have to stay on until the next person's timer starts, or at least that's how I made it. Is that it starts until the next person clicks start, or I think it's the meet board clicks start. So yeah, but syncing all of that together with WebSockets, it's like, man, so in school I never commented my code or like marked what each function does, but the functions are so complicated that I actually, let me show you. It was so complicated that I actually had to comment. So in school, I never really like documented my code or like commented what each function does, because in my head I always knew. But here it was so complicated that I actually like marked what each of these functions do, because it was really, really hard to like work this out. Like I had to draw out a lot of things. I implemented each thing one by one, and then once, like, it's not like, oh, we implemented this thing and it's done, it's never being touched again. It was, we implement this thing, we implement the next thing, but the next thing interacts with the thing before, and that stacks. So it's like, it took so long to think about that. I can see like why this is so difficult. That's one of the features that I completed this week. I'll show you the next one. So the next one is the lifter database. I mean, we have one based on like the meets that have been inputted, which I wrote all by hand, but the actual lifter database is open source. There's like a group of people online that keep track of all the meets, and they actually make the data public. So it's all stuffed in a CSV, and it's up to you to parse it. So first, I wanted to parse it using Python, because I'm like, oh, pandas. Pandas is awesome. So I parsed it using Python, and I was like, wait a second. I need to put all of this information in my database. So I need to do this in JS, or at least that's what I thought. So then I switched to JS. I used this library called Polars, super powerful library. For some reason, I don't know, I'm probably making this up, but it felt faster than Pandas in terms of parsing large amounts of CSV data and like and filtering and selecting through it. I don't know, it felt faster. Not sure how true that is. Yeah, benchmarks, I didn't benchmark anything. But I did it in JS. I sorted through all of them, and then I inserted it to the database one by one. Like I used the MySQL driver, MySQL 2 driver, to like actually interact with my database and like parse each of the rows. But that was way too slow. Like way too slow. I had it doing it like the complicated way, and I had 3 tables, one for meets, one for meet registrants, one for meet attempts, and actually 4 tables, and then one for meet totals. But then I realized, like, doing this, I did the math, it would take, I think initially it take 72 hours to do it, or 41 hours to parse like 350,000 lines of data. And I was like, this is going to take way too long. I need to get this done now. So then what I did was like, okay, let me think. The first optimization I did was I was like, okay, we're gonna throw away the 4 tables, like the actual organized data. We're just gonna do it in one table. So then once I did that, it cut down the time from 41 hours to 7 hours. But I was like, this was Thursday night, and I had to release that short Friday night. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get this done right now. So then I was like thinking, and we were already like 7 hours is not that long, but I needed to get it done right now. The thing is, I was like thinking really hard of like how I'm going to do this, how am I going to make this faster? I thought like batching the inserts would make it faster. It wasn't really that fast. It went from like 7 hours to 5 hours. I don't know if I did the batch correctly. I used ChatGPT to write that script, but I was like, oh my God, this is going to be impossible. But then I had to go to the grocery store, and I was like, and as I like got up, I was like low-key giving up. I was like, I'm just going to let this run for 7 hours and just hope for the best. But as I got up to go to the grocery store, I realized, oh my God, I should be able to do this like almost instantaneously in Squeal. So I was like, yes, I will be able to do this instantaneously with Squeal. So I went grocery shopping, I did all that, I came back and I downloaded and I like looked up how to do it in Squeal, how to parse a CSV in Squeal. And I was able to parse the entire CSV in Squeal in like 45 seconds. It was awesome. I used dbeaver. Shout out dbeaver. Shout out ChatGPT for teaching me how to use that. But it's really cool how that worked. It's all free. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, so I had 650,000 lines of data here. It's all in one table, so it's not actually structured yet. But since it's already in the Squeal table, it'll be easy to like squeal it up and actually get everything sorted. But yeah, let me show you guys. And you're able to sort it by like the two things that I showed. But I thought that was really cool. Now I can officially say that I've worked with like big data, even though not really. But I thought it was really cool. So another thing that I showed was like the DOTS calculator. All it is just like a calculator. DOTS is what powerlifters use to compare their performance across weight classes. I don't really think that it's a good formula. It's kind of a hot take. Not really a hot take. It's just a good take. It's like trying to compare for like gamers. It's like trying to compare like a PC player to controller player. It's like that's a bad example. But what they claim with this formula is that they can compare a 47 kg woman with a 120 kg man, and there's like a formula that is fair and just and that will compare them. And I do not believe that, but that's what my sport believes. So this is the calculator to do it. The actual formula is like it's free. It's like free to look at online. But the cool thing about it, as I explained, it's like everybody just has the total weight. That's what all the calculators out there do, but nobody has one that's per lift. It's not really that big of a feature. It's not really a feature at all, because usually what you do is you think of your squat, bench, and deadlift, you add it up, and then you put it in your total. But a lot of the people I interact with, when they're like, oh, what's your dots? It's like you have to pull up the dots calculator, and then you have to realize, oh, I actually don't know what my total is, and then you have to pull up your actual calculator. It just basically skips one step. I thought it's a nice little small thing. But yeah, that's all that we got right now. One of the future things I have to implement is in the meet table, let me just pull it up. In the meet table, you have to have a section that shows like the current lifter information. So it'll be like Larry with a card. It'll be like in a card, and it'll say Larry, it'll say bench 120 kgs, and then it'll give his division. So that the spotters and loaders, as well as like the audience, can look at it. The audience, it's not really for the audience, because like, I don't know, like seeing all that information all jumbled up in one place, it's not good for the audience, I think. So I think I'm gonna find a way to like simplify it, make it easy to digest. And also I want them to have their picture on top, because if you're a spotter and loader for like 1,000-person meet, you're not gonna know what everybody looks like. So you don't know like who's next, like whose rack height is which, blah blah, this and that, their information. So like having a name to a face will help a lot, I believe. But yeah, that's all I got for right now. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. We broke 300 subs in the last video, so I really appreciate it. And we're gonna get back to the normal posting schedule. All right, see you in the next one.